Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the KV-13 review, the Russian Tier 7 medium tank. So, Tier 7 medium tanks, quite underwhelming to say the least. So, let's look into the KV-13's armor and then talk about the problems about the Tier 7 medium tanks later in the game. So, 100mm low plate for some fucking reason, not really helpful at all. You really have to be, like, I don't even know what's the point of this. Like, what the fuck can shoot you here that is worth to carry around that 100mm lower plate? I don't know. Whatever. 60mm upper plate needs to be angled a bit more. You need to use your stupid 2-degree gun depression or whatever the fuck it is. It's really bad to be able to auto bends this. The upper plate in the middle is not very good. Don't overextend more than 150, but to the sides it gets much better, and this is mostly where you bounce shots. These little shoulder plates here, unlike some of the German tanks Tier 7, these are actually really strong. Turret, however, not very strong again. So as you can see, this armor is not very good. I mean, it can't bounce, and like the nature of this tank is just that pure troll, and really, there's not much armor to rely on here, unless your enemies shoot you in these zones, and maybe this zone over, well, it depends how you angle, but this zone can be an auto bounce, and these shoulder plates. Other than that, this tank really doesn't have that much armor, and it is kind of sad how bad these Tier 7 mediums are sometimes. And as you see, even the gun mantlet, it varies. Some parts of it are covered with the gun mantlet and actual armor, and some parts are not. So the gun mantlet varies from 113 to 300 for no fucking reason. That's what the fuck. Give me back the armor. Oh well, whatever. So yeah, that's more or less everything there is to say. Let's compare it to the T-43, as we always do. Compare Russian to our Russian tanks, comparing to stuff stats and shit. So, aiming circle spread exactly the same as on the other Russian tank, because the guns is more or less exactly the same. On full speed traversing, the aiming circle spread is a bit worse. On full speed moving, it's a bit better, probably because it's slower. And on full speed vehicle traversing, it is again worse, even though the traverse probably is actually better. Wow, it's impressive. Turn resistance, the same or better, not by much though, so not a big difference here. And that said, let's get into the replay. Pearl River, top tier. Most important thing you have to do to get a good game in the Tier 7 medium tank is to be at top tier. It just makes things so much easier. Tier 7 mediums struggle a lot with the higher tier games. First of all, they have trashy guns that usually lack quite a lot of penetration. Second of all, they don't have vert stabs, so they all aim like shit. All the Tier 7 medium tanks aim like trash. Even the Panther one that shouldn't be that bad, but it still is, and this is really, really bad. And the third thing is that the penetration on almost all the Tier 7 medium tanks, with some exceptions, and this is not one of them, is utter trash. Penetration on the Tier 7 medium tanks is around 150, this is even below that, it's like 140 something. Have gold rounds, but the thing about shooting gold rounds in Tier 7 mediums against higher tier enemies is that this gun hits for 180, most of the other guns hit for 130 or 150 or something along those lines. And it would take you around 10 shots to kill an E75 if it never turns to shoot you, because you can't pen it frontally. You need the 10 side shots into a Tier 9 heavy to kill it. And the situation doesn't get much better when you shoot like a Tier 8 medium. Like this, any Tier 7 medium against Type 59 is just unfair playing. You just can't do anything. The huge gap that is between Tier 7 and 8 in medium tanks is just ridiculous, and that's why the only reason you ever play this is to have a bridge between the medium tanks and the heavy tanks. So basically what the KV-13 does is be a space filler between the two lines. So for instance, if you started to grind the medium line and you have the T-34-85, you can jump to the KV-13 and jump to an IS, or the other way around. If you have the K1S, you can jump to the T-43, which is a pretty cool thing, I guess, if you want to just get more lines without grinding out the low tiers. But other than that, just no point of playing this at all. So far in this game, killed a couple of tier 6s, not that hard with this gun, but yeah, I haven't aimed a single shot in this game, and that's how most of these games go. You just don't bother, there's no fucking point to aim these shots. Again, your aiming time feels as bad as your reload, which means that you'll often just shoot your first shot without aiming completely, just to have your DPM increased. You might you spot something, you shoot at it, then you aim, and then you shoot the second shot that's taken while being full aim. That makes your DPM better if you hit the first shot. And if you don't hit the first shot, it doesn't really matter because your reload would be as long as your aiming time anyways. The only downside to that is you cannot, you usually spook your enemy with your first shot, which usually makes them turn, or well, not usually makes them turn, but it can make them turn and face you. This is a pretty bad play. I should have just killed him now, but I shot the track. I thought he had a bit more health than he did, and he got a hardy just before I fired, so I just should have went for the kill there. That was probably the first aim shot in this game, just because I had time to stop and I didn't have to be afraid to be shot back. And again, look at the aiming time. How? Why? Why is it so bad? Mobility wise though, this tank is pretty good. Top speed is quite high, 50 kilometers an hour, 20 kilometers backwards. Horsepower to ton ratio is pretty damn good as well, at 16.81. The gun on this is the A9. Wait, what even is this? This is an 85mm. Yeah, right. 180 damage per shot. As I said, 144 penetration. Aiming time 2.3 seconds, accuracy 0.37, but since you can't mount towards stab, it feels like shit. Another thing that's really bad about this tank is the gun depression is only -5, while the T-43 gets -8. But yeah, there's not much to say apart from tier 7 medium tanks suck at being not being top tier, and this is definitely one of them. Then again, you shouldn't worry too much. Like, if you have most of the equipment unlocked on this, you can get through the grind in around 20 games, so it's not that big of a deal. You won't have to do this for a long time, but it is just a sad state where the game is in for tier 7 medium tanks. I would really love to see a one tier matchmaking where the highest tier that these things could see is tier 8. That would really make you at least somewhat useful in those tier 8 games. In tier 9 games, these tanks feel almost completely useless. Last time in Left Alive, I don't really care if I live or die, so I'm just gonna go in and charge him. And this is the best ramming you can ever see. 3 damage, very nice. And kill him as well. Here's the end plate, double experience, 5727. Ace tanker, that's like sharpshooter or whatnot and high caliber. So 3062 damage done, 489 experience earned. Before I completely forget, equipment I would use is Armour, binos because you don't have enough view range for colored optics, and ventilation or gun length drive, kind of up to you, but it doesn't really matter that much anyways. But yeah, overall this tank is really similar to the T-43. There's not much to say. The gun is shittier, it's faster, and has a bit better armor, and shittier gun depression, but I would say the T-43 is better just because the gun is better, while it reloads faster on that one, but KV-13 can be used reasonably well. It's obviously when you're top tier, but I would not recommend you to go for this tank just because it just doesn't lead anywhere. And if you have all the lines, there's no point. Hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I'll see you on the next one.